Hi, the Kativik Regional Government is working on the revision of the Nunavik Residual Materials Management Plan for the period of 2021-27. You can consult the entire document and its summary on the KRG website. These are the main sections of the plan that I'll summarize for you today. Let's start with the revision cycle. There was a first plan 2015-19. An assessment was made last fall, followed by public consultation. Since then, the plan has been revised, and we're now at the public consultation session until December 4th. Once the plan will be revised, accepted, and adopted by KRG Council, it will be enforced for the period of 2021-2027. Current waste management. There's a local regulation on waste management in each village. Collection is about 5 times a week, and waste are transported to the Northern Territory disposal site that we'll call landfill for the rest of the presentation. Several landfills are almost full. There are 3 projects to build new ones: Kangiasuk, opening in 2021, Inuttitut and Kativik. The opening dates are undetermined yet. Combustible materials are burned periodically. Waste metal are stacked in a separate section. There's a shelter for storing hazardous materials in almost every village. It's either a double bottom container, like on the right side picture, or a shelter with a concrete foundation. There's a few recovery activities on the territory. Recovery of returnable containers in all communities and certain other packaging, which varies depending on the store. Single-use plastic bags are banned or sold in certain communities. Some communities recycle used mineral oil using specially designed furnaces. Some construction companies promote the reuse of materials by the local population. Used tires are returned to the south to recycler via the SIC Quebec program. Textile materials are collected in Kuujjuaq and shipped to all the villages. Automotive batteries are collected and recycled in the south. It's an initiative of the NVs at their expense. Community composting project has been underway in Kuujjuaq since 2011. Large bulky items are collected about once a year in the majority of the communities and transported to the landfill. The accumulated hazardous materials have been recovered or in the process of being recovered in all communities. Products covered by the extended producer responsibility regulations can be recovered in 6 communities. We're talking about used motor oil, mercury lamp, paint, batteries, and electronics. The 6 communities are Kangiasuk, Saluit, Kuujjuaq, Inuttitut, and Kangiasuk. For the first 5 ones, the drop-off point is at the co-op store, and Kuujjuaq, the drop-off point is at the landfill. There are programs to recover these products, which are sent to the south for recycling, and the funding comes from the producer or distributors in Quebec. The recovery cost is included in the product price, which means you pay for the recovery when you buy the product. The waste inventory. It's a mandatory section of the plan. It is made to characterize the type of waste generated on the territory, their mass, and their percentage of recovery. In total, Nunavik produces more than 15 tons of waste per year. It represents 1.1 ton per person per year. It's important to know that the waste comes not only from the residential sector, the citizen, but also is generated by different organizations and institutions, the stores, the construction companies, etc. We can say that almost 100% of these residual materials go to the landfill, since there are few recovery systems but the one that we just saw. If we look at the 3 sectors combined, residential, institutional, and organizations, and construction, renovation, demolition sector, we can look at the different category of waste produced and their percentage. We can observe that more than 50% of the waste is construction, renovation, demolition residues because of their heavy mass. Now let's look at the implementation issues. First, the money. There's a lack of funding specifically dedicated to the regular operation at the landfill. The existing funding programs for the management of residual materials are not adapted to the specific context of Nunavik. It is difficult or impossible for the northern villages to increase taxes to finance new measures. There's a need for a permanent employee dedicated to the landfill during opening hours and responsible for controlling access to the site, the regulation compliance, sorting of the residual materials, and storage them. There's a deficient maintenance because of the lack of dedicated equipment and the scarcity of covering materials for the waste. There's a lack of competent and trained human resources to develop residual materials management projects, for example, to plan the measures, to carry them out, and to ensure the maintenance of operations on the field. There are abundant CRD residues over a short period of time during the construction period between June and October. And finally, the expensive, infrequent, and complex maritime transport. Now let's look at the action plan that includes 3 orientation, 7 objectives, and 20 measures. The responsibility for the implementation comes under KRG, the northern villages, various regional organizations, and other partners. The timeline is between 21-27. There's a descriptive sheet presenting each measure in the plan if you want more detail on the measures. First, orientation 1, build interest among all generators about the importance of residual materials management. Objective 1, conduct information and awareness building activities on topics related to the residual material management. Measure 1, carry out an awareness building campaign for each new project that introduces a change in practices. For example, for the Eco Center and the composting projects presented in the next measures. Objective 2, promote partnerships in every sector of activity with a view for implementing measures. Measure 2, develop partnerships with ICI and CRD sector stakeholders to develop new measures and implement some measures included in this action plan. Orientation 2, develop management methods for Nunavik based on the concept of sustainable development. Objective 3, improve the management of northern landfills. The third measure is to provide training to municipal workers in order to improve residual material management. Measure 4, explore alternative to the open air burning of waste. This means the issue of open air burning will be studied and recommendations will be made to reduce or eventually stop it. Measure 5, prepare a procedure for the management of end-of-life vehicles and publish it. Measure 6, develop storage sites for scrap vehicles outside of the northern landfills. First in the 2 villages. Measure 7, support the northern villages to implement residual materials management bylaws. The bylaws exist, but are not all implemented and are fully implemented. Juridical support will be provided. Objective 4, develop project to divert more residual materials away from northern landfills. Measure 8, implement a residual metal recovery project in 1 or more communities. This project received funding from the Ministry of the Environment and needs to be completed by 2024. Measure 9, implement a thermophilic composting project in Inuttitut. The feasibility study has been made in 2019 and the project is feasible and underway. Measure 10, implement an Eco Center and Resource Recovery Station project in Kuujjuaq. Again, a feasibility study has also been made last year and the project is underway. Measure 11, implement a recovery project for recyclable materials. The collection of recyclable materials is being modified in Quebec. The new system will be implemented in the first community by 2027. Measure 12, support food retail stores to expand the deposit refund program. The deposit system is also being improved and enlarged. It will cover all ready-to-drink beverage containers from 100 millimeters to 2 liters. All liquid, water, juice, milk, etc. It will represent major complexities for the stores in Nunavik. The measure aims to accompany them. Measure 13, implement local initiatives to reduce the waste of construction materials. For new construction materials that are wasted because not completely used or not properly stored. Measure 14, explore possible projects to reduce packaging at source. A lot of the waste comes from packaging. Study will be made in collaboration with the main stakeholders to find solutions to reduce packaging at source. Objective 5, maintain and develop existing reclamation activities. Measure 15, optimize existing drop-off centers and open new drop-off centers for products covered by extended producer responsibility. As you already know, only 6 communities have drop-off points. The objective here is to optimize them to have better recovery rates and open others. Measure 16, promote bans on single-use plastic shopping bags. Plastic bags, because they are so light, are a major pollution source. Some villages already ban them. The idea here is to encourage the other to do the same. Orientation 3, the last one, monitor implementation of the action plan and global innovations in residual materials management. Objective 6, monitor residual materials management. Measure 17, monitor developments in the field of residual materials management and disseminate relevant information. For example, by creating a communication web platform to share relevant information on waste management to the stakeholders, ENVI, regional organizations, landholding corporation, etc. Objective 7, audit the implementation of the Nunavik Residual Materials Management Plan. Measure 18, develop a mechanism for assessing the achievement of targets. It is mandatory to have a follow-up system of the action plan. A mechanism will be developed to follow the measure's implementation. Measure 19, establish a committee to follow up on the implementation of the action plan. Follow-up committee will be created, presided over by KRG with different regional stakeholders. That includes citizens, businesses, ENVI, etc. This committee will talk about waste management and analyze the evolution of the action plan implementation. Measure 20, prepare progress reports on the implementation of the Nunavik Residual Materials Management Plan every 3 years. The progress report will be published at mid-time around 2023. Local Action Plan. In the Appendix 5 of the plan, 14 local action plans are presented. Some measures are for all the villages, but others are only for one or a few communities. The choice has been based on the answers to a survey completed by the Nordic villages during spring 2020. Since it would have been too long to present the 14 action plans, you're invited to consult the complete plan, Appendix 5, to read the action plan for your community. You can see an example here on the screen. It's a one-page action plan. Your opinion matters. Stay tuned for public consultation activities by visiting the KRG Facebook page and the website. For any questions and comments on the plan project, on the video, on the summary, contact the KRG Environment Department at the coordinates you see on the screen. Thank you very much and have a great day.